Hi everyone, this is Rhonda Rawlings, and I'm so honored to be sitting here today for Black History USA with, I'm always going to say Representative Robinson, but you have instructed me to say Ms. Robinson now since your retirement. So thrilled to be with you, and I know that you recently retired 10 years at the South Carolina House of Representatives. Prior to that, 16 years on the school board in Greenville County. So first of all, thank you so much for advocating pretty much your whole life.
And thank you for having me here.
Awesome. I'm excited to have you here. And so, we know you served House of Representatives with the school board, but you really started your service as a teenager. Advocating for civil rights. What is one of your earliest memories of having to step up and speak out and advocate?
One of my earliest memories will be that time when I was 15 years old, a 10th grader at Sterling High School, walking downtown to the Crest 5 and Dime, and that store is now called CVS, right at the corner of McBee and Main.
Wow.
We walked to that store and we sat in at the lunch counters and nobody wanted us there, but we were well behaved, we were citizens, and we wanted to be treated as such. So we sat down at that lunch counter hoping that we could place an order for a drink or a sandwich, but we were turned down. In fact, the police were called, and when the police came, they arrested us. And we were taken to a jailhouse now, is the Greenville News. But back in the old days, it was a city jail, right at the corner of Fall and, Main Broad.
Across from the Peace Center?
From the Peace Center. We were taken there and we were kept for a week at that jail. But before we were taken to that jail, those of us who were underage, meaning under the age of 16, were taken out of that jail. And we were taken to the Youth Detention Center, which is located on Academy Street. And I think that old house is still there on Academy Street, right up from Israel Metropolitan CME Church.
Wow.
And we were taken there and we were kept there for a week. And we were not released until our parents went before a family court judge. And when our parents went before that family court judge, they were given the 1, 2, 3 in terms of threatening them in case we ever marched again, in case we ever participated in another demonstration while we were underage. So that to me is the most memorable, being incarcerated at that youth house of detention for a week. And it was not only me, there were 4 other students who were accompanying me at that time.
Wow. Now this is really, when people ask me why is Black History Month so important? Why is Women's History Month so important? Why is advocating for people to go out and vote so important? My thing is it's because the people who led before us, the people whose shoulders we stand on today, made so many sacrifices so that we can have some of the freedoms and some of the liberties and some of the justices that we have today. And I think it's so important that we continue to advocate. So thank you for all you've done, and thank you for what you continue to do. And I want to hold this up. It is Ms. Robinson's book, because she is also an author. And the book is Black America, Greenville County, Greenville, South Carolina. And you have documented so many important things within this book. I'm sure because of all of your experiences that led you to put this down on paper. But talk about, maybe an inspiration that you felt where you had that something click in your mind to say, you know what, I'm writing this down and I'm documenting this for future generations.
Yes. Well, as I think back, this very organization where we're sitting today, the Center for Educational Equity, started out in the year 2000. And we began to have classes in 2001, 2, 3 at Greenville Technical College because the president of the school at that time, Dr. Tom Barton, he allowed me the use of those buildings on Greenville Tech's campus, from the computer labs to other areas of the campus, for what we call the Saturday Success School. And we had loads of children coming into that school from all over Greenville County. And oftentimes when we talked about history, the children would often ask, where can we find the history of black people in Greenville? And they would remind me that when they would go to the library, there would be no books in there on black folks' history in Greenville. And they wanted to know what black folk had done in Greenville through the years, because all that they were taught in school, according to them, was that black people were slaves, that they were slaves. And no mention was made of the great heroes that existed in those early days, pre-slavery or enslavement and post. So based on their concern and their need, I began to do some research and gathered evidence and decided to put it in a book so our students would have some kind of meaningful record of what black folk in Greenville County had done through the years.
Wow, and that's so important too, because as we've been listening to the news lately, we see that there's a lot of lawmakers right now trying to get rid of black history studies in certain areas. And this book, I can tell you, it goes through the black church in Greenville, housing, which is a hotbed issue right now, housing then and now, the civil rights movement, industrial labor. So I really want to encourage people to pick up this book. You can find it in so many places. I saw it in CVS the other day, which is really, because you just told me that story, which is really an incredible feat, because that's where you were, trying to sit at a counter where you weren't welcome, and now they're selling your book in that same store. So definitely would love people to pick up this book by Ms. Simpson. And let's talk a little bit more about the Center for Educational Equity, because it's doing such great work right here in Greenville with after-school programs and boxing lessons. And so I am on Pendleton Street in Greenville all the time, and I see the kids running. They have like running classes. So talk about that, because I know it's also such a joy because your son, Shakir Robinson, is leading the charge here, correct?
Yes, he is, and he's done a wonderful job and is doing a wonderful job. At one time when we were at Greenville Tech, I was actively involved because it was a Saturday school. But once we acquired this building on Pendleton Street, it became a full-time undertaking. And who else to pick up the mantle and keep the doors open but Shakir Robinson, who's my son. And he's dedicated to it. There have been times when I have said to him, when dollars have been short, I would ask him, why don't we just give it up? And he said, no, we cannot give it up, because where else will these kids go? Because what had happened, we had a center in Greenville, the Phyllis Wheatley Center.
Yes.
And the Phyllis Wheatley Center at that time, for nearly 100 years, had been a place where black kids could go from all over Greenville and get the help academically that they needed, to get fitness. Phyllis Wheatley even had the first USA boxing program that my son participated in. And he was just determined to keep a place open where our kids could go to and succeed. And this is what we've tried to do. It has been a struggle because we've noticed that other groups get funded with no track record such as the track record that we have. We've been here all of these years, never one complaint. No complaints at all. No police involvement at all. No encounter with law enforcement when those kids leave here. These kids have nearly a 98% high school graduation rate. Where can you find that? In addition to the high graduation rate, I could point to so many of our young people who've gone on to college. Many of them have graduated. One is an engineer up at BMW. One is a counselor at Southside High School. He went on to get his master's. And the list just goes on and on and on. Even the director here, Talia Anderson, graduated from USC and USC Upstate. And she's back now, not as a little kid, but as a director of this program. So that just speaks to what this program has done under the leadership, not of me. I may have been one of the old originators, but Shakira Robinson's dedication. And when you talk about fitness, so many of our young people have habits that will put them in a bad situation when they get older. You know, lifestyle, eating habits, drinking habits. But when the kids come here, we encourage them to drink waters, and that's why we have the waters here, and to eat healthy fruits and vegetables, to do away with those fabricated foods and snacks because they're no good. And if they continue that, can you imagine how healthy they will be when they get older? I used to ask them if they had anybody in their family who had diabetes, and they wouldn't know. I'd say, what about sugar? Then they would know. They know, And then how many in your family had heart attacks? And then their hands would go up. And so what I was trying to get across to them when I would ask them those questions was to motivate them to live the kind of lifestyle where when they get older, they wouldn't have to encounter those health problems. So we want to thank Shakira Robinson for his dedication, for his tenacity, and we're still pushing forward, hoping that we will get the funding that we need because we are definitely deserving.
I have to tell you, I see it coming. I see it coming. I know that you are so busy. Even though you are retired, you're still working, you're still fighting. Last question I want to ask is, what would you consider, what do you feel was your greatest accomplishment? What were you most proud of during your time as a South Carolina representative?
Well, there are so many things that I'm proud of. I served as a part of the South Carolina Legislative Black Caucus. And I was also elected secretary and was able to provide a lot of the executive leadership of the Black Caucus. I'm proud of that. I'm also proud of the fact that I was able to assist and lead the way for some of our African American judges. And to do that, I had to go behind the scenes and beg for support from some of our Republican counterparts because we never had the votes to do anything much. And as a result of that, I can think of 2-3 judges that I was able to assist. Some of them were white. In fact, a circuit or Supreme Court justice, I believe now, is up for election, and I met with him on many occasions. I won't call any names, but he's a good person, and I helped him. But we know about Judge Alex Kinlow. And our own beautiful Judge Kameka Nichols-Graham. And she's now a family court judge, and I'm very proud of the work that I did for her. And again, I try not to let my ego get in the way. I don't care who gets the credit, as long as we get the person where they need to be. And so those are some of the things that I did. When it comes down to the bill, the only bill of record that was passed by me as the lead sponsor was the metastatic breast cancer bill. And Rosalind Weston was the force behind my writing up that bill. And I got help from my desk mate, Chandra Dillard. I'll give her credit because she was on the list of it. And all of the Greenville delegation signed off on that bill. And it passed both the House and the Senate, and it was passed by the governor, which is a great tribute to Rosalind Weston, a beautiful young lady who was so helpful in this community in so many ways. So when she came to me, I was happy to do that. Some bills never passed. You don't want me to start talking about the school to jail pipeline. I can talk about that school to jail pipeline because that was an important bill, but politics kept it from moving forward. Many of the Republican-type senators and representatives were solicitors in their hometowns, and they thought that it wasn't needed, that what was in place was all that was needed. And so that school to jail pipeline, it went through the House on one occasion, passed the committees and the General Assembly of the House, went on to the Senate, and on the third reading, which was the last reading, all you need is one person to hold their hand up and object. And that's what happened to that.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And when you see how Greenville has gentrified, I had a gentrification bill that I pushed every year I was there. And I had one of my Republican colleagues to tell me that it was a good bill, but that the developers and the realtors would have their head if they passed it.
Right.
And so those are just a couple of the examples of bills that I fought for. And most of the bills that I fought for were bills that impacted us, you know, as a people. Because there's so many bills that go through the House and the Senate each year, and they're good bills. And I always voted for them and supported them. But we need not only in the South Carolina House, but also on city and county council to have folk, excuse me, folk that we elect fight for what we need.
Yes.
I go to city council meetings. In fact, I was at a city council meeting this week. And I go to county council meetings. And when I look at the agenda, they have great things on the agenda that these developers are pushing, but when I look through the agenda to find something that would impact on us, I don't see anything. And a lot needs to be done in terms of ordinances, local ordinances, to control things such as evictions on people's records. That's a biggie, because we have so many children now living in hotels, these bad hotels that charge $350 and $400 a week. That's $1,600 a month. And our children go to school from these little one-room motels.
Right.
Now, I don't care how poor we used to be back in the day. Even if we lived in a little shotgun 2-3 room house, we at least had space. But you need to go in those motels and see how the whole family is cramped together in one room.
And
they leave that and go to school. So I can get pretty
yeah, that definitely
emotional.
affects children when they go to school, when they've had to live in conditions.
It does.
Definitely puts them at a disadvantage. But really wanted to let you know how much we appreciate you.
Thank you.
And so when Glenn Singleton reached out to me and asked, do you think you can get a hold of Representative
Leola?
Yes, to be in our calendar? I said, most definitely. And you can see your beautiful picture is here along with your bio in the Black History USA calendar in the month of April. So if you don't have a calendar, please pick one up. You can go to blackhistoryusa.com to get one of these. And as well as we would like to present you with this, the Black History
Oh,
USA
isn't that-
Community Award for 2023.
Oh, isn't that nice? Thank you. This is beautiful
There you go.
because it includes the others
Yes.
as well.
It does. So thank you so much for all you've done, and I still see you around town for all that you will continue to do.
Well, thank you.
And your passion, your compassion, and just your love for community. So once again, thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And God bless you.
Thank you. You as well.